that's not really going to do anything.
All right, so those of you who are just joining us now, we're live. Those of you who were here before, well, we're live, but the show is kind of starting over, so just bear with us for a couple minutes here while we go through our headline topics for the day and all of that other good stuff. So Yahoo is allegedly making their own YouTube, something that we kind of talked about mostly already, so we're not going to get into too much depth with it. The R9 295, allegedly rumored, has been leaked. That is AMD's upcoming dual GPU graphics card, allegedly. Allegedly. We've also got some other interesting stuff this week. So Mozilla's CEO has resigned over an anti-gay marriage controversy, something that I would like for us to try to take a balanced approach to rather than take one side or the other. It's definitely something that's a hot topic right now. There's about a 13-page thread on the Linus Tech Tips forum about it. And then something I really wanted to talk about, that's an observation of mine, is whether or not the gaming laptop is dead as a product category. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get a quick, intro going on here. The show today is brought to you by Intel, actually Corsair as well, who are both sponsoring us to go to PAX East. More on that later, as well as Squarespace.com, the fast, easy, inexpensive, and scalable. How many words can I use to describe Squarespace? Way to set up your own beautiful website. Visit squarespace.com/Linus to learn more and to get a discount. More on that later as well. So let's jump into our first topic, and we're going to blitz through this one pretty quick since some of you have probably already seen it. And that is that Yahoo is rumored to be working on their own YouTube. I don't think they're going to call it YahooTube. YahTube is kind of like, it's like even more casual than YouTube.
Yeah. YahTube.
Yeah.
I'm just going to go watch on YahTube.
Yeah, YahTube. Okay, anyway. I think either the Nordics or the, who else would like it? Maybe the Jamaicans would like it. It's like targeted at these particular regions. It's like, we're going to go after the Jamaican and Nordic market.
It's brilliant.
Genius.
It's absolutely genius.
So the rumor, the word on the street, and the original article that, this was posted on the forum by Oh No Tech, and so the article that we were looking at from Guardian LV says that Yahoo's CEO, Marissa Mayer, allegedly has been contacting YouTube content providers, star talents, and network channels with the promise of more money if they switch to the Yahoo service. Mind you, to me, the big challenge is, of course, the chicken and egg. You can't have an audience without content creators. You can't incentivize content creators unless you have a ginormous audience that you can drive traffic to their content with. And I don't know if their approach of going after the premium content creators is necessarily right, because that's part of what made YouTube so big and so hard to beat by competing. Well, I mean, Vimeo doesn't even really try to compete with them, but that's what makes them so hard to surpass in terms of size by other video sharing services, is the fact that they have this enormous mainstream appeal. So you could take all the music videos, all the Vivos of the world, and move them over to Yahoo, but then you've just basically turned yourself into a video streaming service unless you also have that community. And if you create a community interaction model, then it might go all Google Plus on you and blow up in your face anyway.
And like if they try to buy people out and make it so they can't post on YouTube, that would bring content over that you'd want to watch there, but then that's really aggressive and is going to create some really awkward situations. And if you don't do that, people are just probably going to want to watch it on YouTube instead of YahTube anyways.
So, I mean, from my perspective, actually, this is something I didn't cover before. So as a content creator, what does Yahoo have to overcome to appeal to me? I'm just going to move the mic a little bit closer here. I see a couple people saying the audio's a bit low. It's not adjustable right now. That
probably sounded great.
Whatever. Okay, so what do they have to overcome? Number one is that even though YouTube takes 45% right off the top of the advertising revenue that's generated by something like a TrueView in-stream ad before a video plays, what YouTube is able to do is probably about, I'd say, double to triple my overall viewership by driving new viewers to old videos. So when you look at a new video that we upload, within the first, let's say, week, that's probably, unless it's something that really has legs in the long term, something like our Xbox One versus PS4 image quality comparison, unless it's something people are really going to be looking for in the longer term, that's about 90% of what that video is ever going to get in terms of views.
Yep.
What YouTube does is it takes that video and drives people to it in the background compared to, you know, just us blasting it out to our subscribers. Now, YouTube makes a lot of mistakes. They don't send our videos to all of our subscribers. Like, there's a lot of stuff wrong with the YouTube model, but they kind of make up for it by keeping our content as prolific as possible and spreading it out so that even older content that we're not focused on anymore is still maybe making us 2 cents that day from the 40 people who watched it, which adds up when you have 2,000 videos uploaded to the platform. So if Yahoo's approach is going to be trying to get exclusivity deals with premium content creators without necessarily a plan for having that huge mass of viewers, like on YouTube, I'm gonna go find something that's like an ancient motherboard unboxing or something. YouTube has so much reach that even super old videos, so motherboard unboxing, let's try to find that. Even super old videos can generate revenue for you. So I guess
you know what's interesting is I've been subscribed to our own channel on my private YouTube, just so I know what we're releasing, because a lot of the times I just don't, because I'll film or work on something and then finish it, and then it's like, oh, all right, we'll see when that comes out, I guess. So I subscribed to our own channel so I know what's even going on, because people will talk to me about things that have released, and they'll be like, in your most recent video, blah, 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 and I'll be like, I have no idea what you're talking about. So yeah, subscribe to our own channel. The only thing that I get in my subscription feed is the WAN show.
Right.
I don't get anything else. I have to go to the channel directly to get anything else in my subscription.
So on the flip side, here's a motherboard unboxing from August 2011. Here, actually, I can screen share here. From August 2011 that has got a couple views, you know, let's say 1 view per day over the last month. Like, how is that even possible? Does anyone care about the Sniper 2 Z68 board? So without having that mainstream appeal, Yahoo Tube may suffer.
Yahoo.
If they call it Yahoo, we want a cut. We want a cut.
10% cut. That's the Linus Media Group cut.
That's the Linus Media Group cut. 10% cut. That's all we ask. It's actually very reasonable.
It is. Yahoo.
That's terrible.
I love it.
All right, let's move into our next headline topic. We're going to try and compress the show a little bit because we started so late. We're really sorry for that, guys. We are on a brand new dedicated line for the show, so there you go. All right. Over to my screen. Boom! Leaked.
Maybe.
This is allegedly, and I can neither confirm nor deny, a picture of the R9 295X2. AMD's rumored to be dual GPU graphics card with what is rumored to be 8 gigs of GDDR5 memory is rumored to have a radiator attached to it.
Rumored.
Allegedly. Now, we've seen implementations like this before with low profile, like, guys like Coolit or Asetek make these things, low profile pump block combo units on each GPU, and then a fan to take care of cooling the rest of the components, the memory, the VRM, and all of that good stuff. But this would be the first time that we've seen it's going to be pretty niche, but this would be the first time that we've seen a mass-produced product implement something like this right out of the box. I mean, Sapphire...
it's happened.
Yeah. Guys like Sapphire have done this kind of stuff. Where it's like, here's a liquid-cooled graphics card out of the box.
And, yeah.
But this is the first time we've seen a reference design.
That's what I was going to say. There's actually been like a few, but not reference ones.
All right.
And when you say mass-produced, like, I don't know how many of these they're actually going to make either.
I have no idea. I mean, I could
definitely see it being limited.
I do know that some of the... I'm just going to move this again. I do know that some of the dual GPU cards in the past have actually been fairly limited production run.
Yeah.
And they have intentionally kept the supply constrained because they know that if they just flooded the market with them, there's no way they could sell them all anyway. And so that may be AMD's strategy here. Keep it as a niche appeal item. So the rumored suggested retail price is over $1,500. And when did this happen?
Because it was always like $1,000, wasn't it?
Yes.
And then it was like Titan Z. Nope.
Well, no. What started this, actually, I think we have NVIDIA to blame for this.
Well, we do.
Titan, but not Titan Z. Because Titan...
How much was Titan?
$1,000 for a single GPU card. So they came in and they went, okay, we've got the 690, which is a dual GPU card. We're going to put another card at that price point, Titan, at $1,000, and that is our $1,000 tier card. Now, that's a single GPU card, but if you want two of those, which, by the way, is a miracle of engineering, depending on the clock speeds that NVIDIA and AMD, like both of them, miraculous engineering. But if you want two of these things on a card, you got to pay more than $1,000 now. Like, what happened?
I don't know.
Because, like, it wasn't that long ago.
Like, personally, who cares? Just buy two of the other one. It's going to be so much better anyways. And cheaper.
Well, we don't have a clear idea of what the clock speeds will be on this card. But what is rumored, allegedly, is that it will have a total of 5,632 stream processors, making it two fully fledged Hawaii XT cores.
Boom.
Did you say boo or boom?
Boom.
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 Like boom.
As in, like, yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
We should have sound effects on this show, like
You know,
on the radio.
you probably haven't seen this, but the Battlefield 4 Easter egg, if 10 people go around
With
a
the
buoy,
thing, yeah.
and
Yeah.
Did you know that an explosion happens to make that water thing? If you look close enough, right when he hits the water, there's like a fire explosion, then it instantly switches to water. If you look close enough, it's there. And if you follow the people's camera when they're in the water, it's like it blows up. But like only for a second. It's how they're simulating the
That's fascinating.
Yeah.
That is a cheap hack, and I love it.
Yeah.
Taking advantage of the excellent water physics they already have in the game, and a mechanic they've already built.
Yep. Go look at that footage again. Pay attention and look for the like yellowy fire explosion that would happen from like a bomb in Battlefield 4, and watch it just disappear like right away.
Touche, Dice. Touche.
Yep. I don't know how many people have actually noticed that, but
I love it.
I had to segue to that because I was like, this somehow connects, and there we go. Done.
Speaking of Connect, lots of great Microsoft news this week, although very little of it is to do with Connect, if at all. Nothing's to do with Connect.
None.
All right. Well, hold on. You could make the argument that Cortana could potentially be Connect related at some point.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, because I don't see Microsoft putting a bunch of resources into an excellent voice control mechanism and then not putting it on the Xbox One, which desperately needs it.
Yeah.
All right, so Windows 8 will be free on devices under 9-inch. This is amazing, and it pretty much makes me forgive Microsoft, but not Google, for that whole thing with not allowing tablets that run both OSs. So our original source here is The Verge, and the idea is that with phones and tablets, this has been a huge roadblock for Microsoft gaining any market share, because let me tell you, from talking to guys like HTC about the kinds of constraints that they are under when building a cell phone, they basically are at the mercy of the providers who say, look, we're going to sell it for this much under contract, so whatever it costs you, we don't care, figure it out.
Yeah.
That is how that business works. So for Microsoft to take some of the burden off of the handset makers to where they have to pay for the OS compared to Android, which is free, and iOS, which Apple is obviously subsidizing in enough ways that they can just say, okay, well, you know, we don't have to charge ourselves for the OS because we're going to make money on the 30% cut we take on the App Store. We're going to make money on any kinds of purchases off of iTunes that this ecosystem builds. They don't have to worry about the cost of the OS, where now Microsoft is making Windows free on devices with screens under 9 inches. I love it.
It's very cool. I saw a lot of people in the comments celebrating, saying that they were going to install it. I don't know.
Yeah, it's not that simple.
No, I think this is more awesome because you can see it on more devices, hopefully at a cheaper price point and stuff. Not
Yes.
necessarily because you're going to be able to like Hackindows your phone.
Although that would be cool.
That would be pretty cool.
I mean, that would be really
and
cool.
And like maybe that becomes a thing. I don't know, but right now it's like not. So.
Because, I mean, that's one of the big problems with Windows Phone. It's the very limited hardware that's available.
That's another thing, actually, to segue into another topic, which I don't even know where it is. But they're encouraging people to make cross-platform apps now. So they're making it so if you make an app for the Windows Store on a Windows 8.1 PC, it should hopefully also work on the phone.
Right. Yeah. No, they're pushing much tighter integration across the platforms overall. In fact, I've got a YouTube video here that we can just go ahead and have a quick boo at.
This video is awesome.
Yeah. The video's super no, it's not that one. It's a different one. The video's super short. Windows and Windows Phone together. And basically, Joe Belfiore just talks about how they want them to be better integrated, and he shows a quick example. Okay, he talks for a bit. Bloop. Bloop. Okay, so he shows an example.
Bloop. Come on, bloop.
Bloop. Where he changes the background desktop wallpaper color, so the theme on his phone, and a few seconds later, although they've edited the video, so I have no idea how many seconds it actually took, a few seconds later, the Windows desktop changes color as well. And then, of course, they're going to work with, what do they call it now, OneDrive?
Something.
The rebranding of SkyDrive.
Yeah.
So their cloud storage is going to be tightly integrated. They want the apps to be tightly integrated so that you're having more of an ecosystem experience. And that is ultimately how they're going to make this strategy work. Microsoft is making a big bet here, because this is such a huge departure from their traditional business of selling you the OS up front. Whereas now, you look at the new strategy, they're going to go, okay, well, we still want you to buy Windows. Mind you, they're slashing prices on Windows 8.1 for desktops as well by 70%.
For makers.
For device makers,
Yeah.
not for standalone. So they're basically going, okay, look, we're going to sell you much cheaper Windows for your desktop machine. We're going to give it to you for your phone and your tablet. And then we need to find other ways to make up that revenue. But I'm looking at some of the ways that they're doing it going, wow, this is really smart. So let's talk about Office for iPad for a moment here.
Yep, definitely.
Office for iPad downloads reached 12 million collectively.
Massive.
That is a big number. I mean, the number of iPads out there, I think, is estimated to be somewhere in the 150 million to 250 million sort of range. So if you look at that and go, okay, let's say even, the higher number is more accurate. That means that, 5% of iPad users are so tired of the other productivity solutions that they want Microsoft Office, which, let's face it, is probably the only reason that a Surface RT ever sold a single unit.
Two quick questions before we keep going forward. How long do you think until they rename it Office 1 instead of Office 365? And two, what do you think the next word is going to be? Because right now everyone is naming everything something 1.
Well, hopefully not Word 1. I want Word.
No, I don't mean Word as in, oh, that's confusing. I don't mean Word as in the program. I mean Word as in how everyone's using the word 1. Like, everyone's going to switch at some point.
Yeah.
I hope.
I want Word Up. It's worth a shot.
Word Up is the subscription one because it just constantly gets better.
Yes. Okay, Tim from Microsoft.
10%, man.
I hope you're watching. Please, send some emails, okay? It needs to be called Word Up, like the Step Up model. Okay, so anyway, the free version of Office for iPad actually only supports a very limited set of features, and the way that Microsoft wants you to give them money is by going for an Office 365 subscription. So it's $99 or more for a year, and let's talk frankly about this for a moment.
Okay.
Does Office 365 make sense to you?
I think we were talking earlier. Did my whole computer just lock up? Why do I have so many problems with laptops? No, it's all good.
called pep talk.
about no, it's not. It's called my previous laptop is really, really old now and has problems.
And this one?
And do you like this laptop?
No. Anyway.
What was I gonna say? Yeah, we were talking about doing it for the business, but it's really expensive because
Right.
of how many subs we'd have to get.
Yep.
But
it allows 5 devices
yeah.
and collaborative tools. I mean,
But is it 5 different users?
No. 5
So-
devices
yeah.
per user.
So as a company, that's a lot of subscriptions.
Okay, but if I want people to be able to work out of office more easily, if I want them to be able to...
You definitely do.
If I want them to, like, okay, no, I mean, a great example of this is if I want to share, like, a B-roll shot list
Yep.
with someone really easily that I kind of created, but I need to finish up. If I could edit that on my phone, share it with the group, and send a push notification, how great does that make our lives?
That would be really nice.
Or if you have your laptop and you want to be able to, do a PowerPoint presentation on some other machine, just being able to grab it. The advantages are tangible. And the cost compared to something like Creative Cloud, which we already subscribe to for, how much is Creative Cloud? $80 a month per user, I think? Excuse me.
Not sure.
Something like that. And the cost is actually not that high if you look at it from a monthly perspective. Office 365 is 5 computers and 5 devices. There you go. So that's from someone in Twitch chat here.
And like that's cool. And I can definitely see it for university kids because
I'm just so tired of other solutions.
Although at the same time, if you just bought whatever release version of Word was released at the beginning of your university life, you could probably use it the entire time through. But then it doesn't have all the other
OneDrive
features.
integration and the live editing and collaboration.
Honestly, I see this being more of a feature for people that are going to have to, like, maybe business kids. They're going to have to do a lot of collaborative work on big documents and offices. I don't know if it necessarily makes as much sense for us because we're going to spend a lot more of our time in video editing software.
I don't think everyone here needs it.
No.
I think you need it and I need it.
Probably.
But I think that, okay, like, how tired are you of
Very.
Dropbox? And, like, I've gotten to the point where because sometimes it doesn't sync correctly with Dropbox and you resave it and then it doesn't go elsewhere and, like,
even though I save on the server my massive, massive Excel sheet, which, like, I understand why it's crashing because it's massive, because I keep everything in there, but it can still crash and then that's catastrophic.
And it just doesn't work that well. Whereas if I can have something that just syncs correctly all the time, I would pay money for that. The problem, but again, this is where Microsoft still needs to get your money from you somehow, is that it is only going to work with OneDrive. So right now, the iPad app has no integration with other services like Google Drive or Dropbox. So they want to sell you cloud storage. They want to sell you a subscription to their software, but they're going to give you the OS for free. It sounds crazy because it's Microsoft, but is it really any different from what other guys are doing?
I just saw someone type in Twitch chat, it's not free because it's a subscription, you idiots. I have no idea what that guy means.
Windows will be free. That's not a subscription.
Oh, is that what he interpreted?
Maybe.
From what we were saying?
Yeah, because we know Office 365 isn't free.
I just spent like a while talking about how it might be too expensive for the company to adopt to it. But yeah, I don't know.
All right, so let's move on to... Oh, actually, no, there was more good Microsoft news. I wanted to... yes! The Windows 8.1 update. So I think you're a big fan of everything that's going on here. So maybe I'll play the video for them, and you can kind of talk while Joe talks. Or doesn't talk because he's muted. So,
okay.
So go hard.
So I saw a leak on The Verge, and I saw a leak on a bunch of other things. New York Times, which I was really scared of going to because of what they've done to me lately. I feel like an abused child when it comes to the New York Times. Some people will get that, not everyone. But this is a leak about different, well, not really a leak, it's official, about different things that are coming to Windows 8.1 Update 1. They should have just called it Windows 8.2, but...
Or Service Pack 1.
Or Service Pack 1, or something that they've done before, but whatever.
Whatever.
Everyone sucks at naming nowadays.
I know, right?
So we'll just take it, I guess. But they're
we'll take
stepping back and doing some things that they should have done for a long time, and they're doing some of them in very interesting ways. So they're doing stuff like you can boot and resume directly to your desktop.
Yay!
Super cool, but then at the same time, this is very easy to hack in yourself.
And why wasn't that a feature before? Anyway.
And why wasn't that a feature before?
Yeah, straight
But
to desktop, no modern UI.
Yeah,
All right.
seriously. Windows Store apps can now open as windows and can be pinned to the taskbar. That is very cool because it's super frustrating when I open something and like the default program, which I know I can change, but still is a Windows app. And then it's like, how do I even get out of this? How do I get back to what I was doing? Why is it my full screen? All this other junk. So now it can open as Windows on your desktop, which is nice.
I mean, I think the most offensive one there had to be the picture viewing app, the default one.
My God.
It is the giantest, steamingest pile of garbage ever.
Yeah.
Like, it really is. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm just going to open up, like, one of my thumbnails, and I'm going to intentionally open it with this terrible, terrible application.
Why
It's
you
this
ever
one,
would,
Photos.
who knows?
Why you would ever want to use it, I have no idea. Okay, so Photos. So I open it in this thing, and it's like, okay, what can I do? Oh, okay, it's actually managing to switch between
I've rarely
photos.
even seen it be able to do that before.
I know. So half the time it doesn't even do that. How do I make it full screen? Okay, and then
But then
like,
one thing is you're doing all this with a touch screen as well.
and I'm doing this with a touchscreen. It's a lot worse without a touchscreen.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
I hate that thing.
A lot worse.
It's the first thing that makes me realize that I'm on Windows 8. Is
See, and then you're trying to press the escape button because
Yeah,
you're like, I want to out of this.
because it's a full screen application. Escape should make it not full screen.
Because you're supposed to escape the application. But anyways, yeah, now a thing, going to be in Windows. That's very nice. They're also going to have minimize and close buttons in the top right-hand corner, which is going to be nice. So if you're in full screen, you can actually minimize it now. It'll minimize it
I'm
to your
showing them that
taskbar.
now. Although
Or go to your
we
desktop.
just barely cut off, so they can't see it.
Awesome.
Anyway.
That's great. But yeah, that's there now, which is awesome. And again, should have been there for a really, really long time. They added media control to store apps in the taskbar, although this was definitely already a thing.
In Windows 7.
But like they added it to the store apps, which is like, okay, that definitely should have just been like an automatic knee jerk. We need this to be a thing, not a added feature. But
You can shut down the
whatever.
computer without dragging your mouse to the bottom
Yeah.
corner, carefully moving it up so you don't go outside of the little band there, and then yeah, so that's good.
Happy that's back. Happy the search is there as well. And then there's also now a tile icon for PC settings. So there's like almost no reason to swipe in from the right anymore because that was super dumb. So luckily that's no longer a thing. There's now right-click context menu for things in the modern UI junk, which hopefully will never be in there anyways. And you can like move groups of things around because you can now multi-select by holding control. Again, hopefully it'll just never be in there anyways.
One thing about that though is that's not intuitive at all for people who are like touchscreen computer operators. It's like, yeah, you can rearrange like that. To me, holding control to multi-select is a power user thing. That's not something my mom does. So like even implementing features like that in modern UI, it's like, why are you even spending the time?
Yeah, in modern UI.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely agree. In the rest of the computer, it's like, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah,
But
I
that's
use it all
already
the time.
a thing. Yeah, it's already a thing. So yeah, I hear you on that. But then again, hopefully you're just never going to use it anyways. So who cares? Let them innovate as much as they want. In the all apps section, things are now highlighted, as you guys can probably see on screen. Nope, he's not showing it. Anyways, now if you go to all apps, newly installed applications will be highlighted, so you can find them easily, which is like, all right, cool, I guess. And then what everyone actually cares about, which we are still can't see, is the new start menu.
I'm not very good at this.
It's just if you now click on the start menu, it shows a more classic styled start menu, and then it has Metro styled things on the right, which I actually think is pretty cool. And the only place in here where I wasn't like, okay, well, I either hate modern UI and don't use it, so don't care about any of these changes, or I just installed Classic Start or some other form of start button and got all these things like directly to desktop anyways. So why does any of this matter? The start menu looks really good. It has the old style. Can you share that? If you click there. Oh my God, I hate Windows 8. Nope, doesn't work. Really? You have it set up like that? You don't have a start menu set up?
I use touch.
Okay, I guess it makes sense you have touch.
And I don't use the start menu. I pin everything. I haven't touched the
that's
start
true.
menu on my desktop in
Yeah, you
months.
just pin everything. Yeah, that's true. But
Yeah, here,
now
I
you
show
can
guys.
pin.
So
Now
I
you
can
can
show you
pin
guys my
Windows
setup.
apps.
Yeah, I could pin modern apps if I wanted to.
Why you even would want to, no one knows. But now you can do it.
Now we can do it.
My
So,
thing is now you not pinning them, but now they open in Windows, so they don't disrupt you as much. At
Yeah.
least if you accidentally happen to open a modern app, you can just close it.
I mean, you know what the funny thing is when they tried to simplify, when Microsoft realized that most people are only running probably a couple dozen apps on a daily basis on their computers, and they went, okay, well, let's create this modern UI where there's like nice big clickable buttons for them all, or touchable, or whatever they are. What they screwed up was probably just the fact that it completely took over your screen and stuff like that, because I actually agree with the approach.
Which is why I like the new start menu, which
Yeah.
if you have showed it yet
I can't find it in the video.
Okay, anyways, maybe
You do it.
Google image search?
Because I can plug into you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Uh,
But I realized at that time that I'm already like that anyway. I mean, now that I don't need a separate launcher for every one of my games, and I can just launch everything through Steam, I only use like maybe 20 programs.
Yep.
So there you go.
And like the nice thing about the new start menu, which I think I finally found, don't plug it in yet.
It won't switch to it anyway.
Close that. Okay. Whoa.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
I know.
Okay, so can we show this now?
Yep, should be fine. But you can't see
Oh.
that. Great.
Here, hold on.
Oh,
Press
I
the
see.
thing.
Yeah.
Wow, this thing is so poopy.
I hate this laptop.
I know. I don't like it either. We've been through this. We've been through so very many things. All right, just drop that
Google
in the
image
box.
search this. Just Windows 8.1 Update 1 Start Menu. That's all you need to do.
Why you make my life so
Anyways,
difficult?
it has the more classic-y style Start Menu with this. It has an all apps thing, but I believe that's essentially the search button. And then on the right, it has Metro style buttons. I don't even know why I'm describing this when you're just gonna pull it up. That's not it.
Where is it? This one? No.
No, what did you even type in?
This one. That must be it.
I don't think so.
Oh.
No. Not at
Well,
all.
why didn't you just link
This
me
is
to
horrible.
it? You're horrible.
Update 1.
What? Oh, all right. I don't even know what you're talking about.
That's one, I think.
Is this it? Are you sure?
That's not the one I have on my screen, but that's one of them. No. Yeah.
No.
Close.
No.
There.
Okay,
That's
we
it.
finally. All right, so this is from Ars Technica. Oh, you guys have been watching this whole thing. I was screen sharing the whole time. Okay, there we go. So
you can see it has a more classic style start menu on the left side, then it has more, I almost said Metro tiles. That makes so much more sense to me. Modern UI tiles on the right, which is actually totally fine because you can even see here there's a feed. And I like that a lot.
yeah,
Because you can have feed style. All I'm going to put in there really is feed style stuff.
yep,
So that I can just like click there, figure out what's going on right now. And
like
if I'm
YouTube and stuff like that.
I want to
totally.
put all my feed style things in there, just so I can, if I'm going for apps, I can see all these other things happening, which I think this is actually great. And that's why I'm super stoked about this, because I think this is actually the direction they should have gone in the first place. I think they figured it out. This is so much better, in my opinion, than any of the ones that at least I have tried. Maybe there's one out there, because I haven't tried anything on Windows 8.1 in a very long time, because I'm just using Windows 7, because I'm more used to it and I like it. But that's the direction I'm hoping for, so I'm excited for Windows 9, because I hope they keep doing stuff like this. Or Windows whatever it's going to be.
But don't worry, gamers, you will not have to update to Windows 8.1
Yeah.
or Windows 9 because DirectX 12 has been confirmed for Windows 7 and up. The only version that is not getting DirectX 12 is Starter Edition, which, let's face it, you weren't running DirectX 12 ready hardware anyway.
No, it's like netbooks and stuff.
Yeah.
So don't worry about it.
So that's great news. Love it. Thank you
That's
for
awesome.
Undead Mike 18 for posting that on the forum.
And this tying in with like all of the other Microsoft news ties into the death of the strategy tax conversation, which is where Microsoft had an internal thing where you couldn't do anything that was competitive with anything else in Microsoft's ecosystem within your own ecosystem. So if you were developing for some sort of platform, if you wanted to do something, if it conflicted with anything else, you couldn't do it. Which held
I think
back.
you should probably give an example or two.
I was just going to.
Okay. That's good.
So, like, if you were trying to release DirectX 12, it should be on new operating systems to drive people to adopt new operating systems, not Windows 7, because then you're actually creating a competing platform essentially, because you're making an older something better, which they're not trying to sell anymore. They're now trying to sell Windows 8.1 and possibly Windows 9 in the future. So if they were like coming to Windows 8.1, that would drive their new goal, not Windows 7.
Another example would be, if the Internet Explorer team was trying to dramatically update or fix the way that web-based word processors that aren't made by Microsoft work within the browser, that might get the old, hey, hold on, what are you doing? You're not helping us sell Word. You're just doing your own thing.
I was going to try and come up with some example that wasn't in the article.
Yeah. Whatever. It's a good example.
It is a pretty good example, but like they're both examples of that's not good for the users. That might be good for sales numbers, maybe in the short term, but that's not good for the users, and it's really frustrating because you're like, well, I have Windows 7, I like Windows 7, I want to be able to use DirectX 12. Well, I have this browser, I like this browser, I want to be able to do basic word editing stuff in this browser. I don't want to have to use Word.
Right, and that it makes your products just inferior, and then no one wants any of them.
Exactly. So in the long term, it makes everything bad instead of one or two things bad.
So hopefully we're done with that, at least for the time being. And DirectX 12, yay! I can play Star Citizen in all its DirectX 12 glory, assuming they support DirectX. I'm sure they will.
Yeah.
And I don't have to upgrade. Sweet!
Yeah, that's actually a really interesting thing, because everyone's talking about how they have to upgrade so much for Star Citizen and stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe it won't be as big of a deal.
At least not the OS. Okay, so without further ado, let's get into our sponsor messages. What on earth will you be doing at PAX East? Brought to you, of course, by Intel and Corsair. Without Intel and Corsair, he wouldn't be going, because I'm not going to pay for it.
Nope. Neither am I, because that's actually pretty expensive.
Nope. Yep. So Luke will be in Boston. Guys, make sure you say hi to him if you see him on the show floor. Yep. But tell the people what
we're
going
to be doing a bunch of different things. One of them is we're going to have a build-off competition with Paul from Newegg.
And there will be no shenanigans. None. That is a rule. That was what Paul said today. He said no shenanigans.
Paul said no shenanigans.
Yeah.
Paul.
That's a rule.
Paul did.
Rules are rules.
Yep. Not meant to be broken.
And Paul made rules.
Paul set that rule.
Yes, he did.
Yep.
Okay.
Moving on, I will also be covering tons of gaming content. I'll be releasing some stuff that's going on around the Intel booth, and I'm probably going to be focusing on stuff like the Indie Mega booth, because indie games are awesome.
Really? You're going to talk about indie games?
Because indie games are awesome, and there's going to be 10 billion other publications that talk about all the AAA games that are there, so we're just going to cover indie games. And maybe a few other ones, but probably mainly just indie
I
games.
actually don't care what he does.
No.
Nope.
He doesn't even know what's going to be there, probably.
Nope. I have no idea. So basically, from my perspective, I've asked him, we have to do a few things for our sponsors, so we have to make sure that we're bringing you the very best coverage of what Intel's got going on there, which is some pretty cool stuff, which helps a lot. Yeah. We're also going to have a pretty sweet giveaway that we're supporting that's going to involve some kind of ASUS tablet. I don't know exactly what yet, so that's going to be pretty...
And possibly another thing.
Pretty freaking smurf, possibly other things as well. So we're going to have that going on, so we're going to be promoting that. But other than that, I basically went, okay... Luke, Brandon, it's B team all the way. You guys decide what kind of coverage you want to create, and there's no pressure to make like a billion videos, so I just want them to bring you guys the best, like, summarized, tight content that they can from the show, so it should be really great.
Well, also, Brandon and I both got into the Star Citizen show on Thursday night, although I don't know what the terms are for that, because our team didn't get into the meeting with Chris Roberts, so we don't know if we like try to take a camera in, if they're just going to be like, no, or if they're going to let us film stuff there. Like, we have no idea, but we're going to try and guerrilla film as much as we can while we're there.
I emailed Mr. Roberts personally and got no reply about our lack of invitation. I know. He's arguably probably very busy.
Yeah.
But
oh my god. And imagine his inbox. Oh god. I don't even want to think about that. Like, mine actually scares me. Imagine his.
Speaking of things that are scary, websites that look good and are easy.
Wouldn't you say websites that look bad and are hard, and you can get away from that by joining Squarespace?
Yeah, that's a way better segue. I should get you to do all the integrations from now on.
No.
So Squarespace.com, the fast, easy, scalable, inexpensive, and all those good words way to build your own beautiful, functional website. They have a wide variety of fantastic templates to choose from. You can use their logo creator to make your own simple and yet effective logo, and you can get online in a matter of, well, okay, let's put it this way. They give you a 2-week trial of access to everything, after which time you should basically have your website completely up and running, whether it's a blog or a, like a news feed or a portfolio or even a web store. In fact, I heard a rumor that another popular tech YouTuber who does a long format news show similar to what we're doing, but we weren't copying him, I swear. Did I say copying him? Ooh. We weren't copying him, I swear. I heard that, there might be a web store powered by Squarespace in the future for an individual like that. It really is a great platform. We use it for LinusMediaGroup.com. It really isn't expensive, and it really does scale with you. If all of a sudden things take off and you get a ton more traffic, no big deal. Squarespace just goes, okay, hey, he needs more bandwidth and more resources. Now let's make this happen. So they have a wide variety of different plans for anyone from just a simple, blogger with a camera who wants to do it as a hobby, all the way up to people who are trying to run legitimate e-commerce stores and trying to support their business with a Squarespace.com website. So guys, highly recommended. And if you want 10% off, I'm going to say this just in case they can't read. Visit squarespace.com/Linus. Typewriter style for a free trial and 10% off. Use offer code Linus. That's the stupidest integration we've ever done. I'm sorry. But I think we got the point across. We like Squarespace. We use it. It's good stuff. You guys should try it too. In fact, Squarespace, out of all of our sponsors, is I think the one that I got the most positive feedback about last time I asked people to tell us about their positive experiences with our sponsors during the show.
My biggest problem now, legitimately, is people will, like, a buddy of mine, I'm not going to drop names, but a buddy of mine is starting a tax service. So he can do your taxes for you, whatnot. Should
I be leaving my Squarespace lower third? Are you still talking about
I'm still talking about Squarespace,
okay.
Yeah. A buddy of mine started doing a tax service thing, and he's like, hey, can I get you to help me with my website? And I was like, sure, yeah. Then, look into it, he's hosting on GoDaddy. I was like, oh, okay. Well, we can move your domain. Oh, no, you have a WordPress site. And you bought a year of hosting from GoDaddy. And, I'm like, well, it looks pretty good. Can you use the template? And then, things just start breaking all over the place. And I'm just like, I guess we can revisit this in a year when your current subscription dies. Then we'll move to Squarespace.
And at that time, it's such an obvious solution. It really is.
Because, it's easier for me. That's my thing. Because, it's so much easier for me to set up a Squarespace site than it is a WordPress site.
I know, because you set up our WordPress site, and it was a total nightmare, and it sucked.
Well, because I'm not a designer. It worked when I was messing with it. There was nothing on it.
So that's one of the things that's easier about Squarespace as well.
Yeah.
You don't have to be a designer to make it look good. All right, so moving into our next topic here, guys. I think that was our longest Squarespace integration ever. Hopefully we made up for it with quantity over quality. It's all about that over here. Yes, Apple patents what appears to be a mount for swappable phone lenses. This is legitimately exciting because one of the biggest challenges to making an awesome phone on a camera is the sheer physics.
An awesome camera on a phone.
Whatever. Or phone on a camera. I don't care. I'm okay with something like a Galaxy camera that it says a phone on a camera. So just calm your boobs. Boobs is a much nicer word for web streaming than tits.
But then you just said it.
Word. Well,
so that it didn't actually save anything.
You backed me into a corner.
No, I didn't.
By laughing at my use of the word boobs. Anyway, one of the problems with creating an excellent camera on a phone is the fact that consumers demand thinner and thinner devices.
But do they? I don't actually really think so.
I kind of like it.
But
have you seen an iPad Air?
But is it really driving stuff that much? Well, that's an iPad, not a phone.
It's sexy. But the upcoming iPhone 6 is rumored to be air thin and
I think it might get to the point where it's too thin and becomes awkward.
I think that when we reach that point, I will not reach that point yet, and you will because you have sausage fingers.
I'm already at that point.
Anyway, one of the biggest challenges is that there simply isn't enough thickness to properly create a lens system that can do all the things they want it to do. Optical image stabilization, putting a big sensor behind it so you can get really nice depth of field effects when you're taking pictures. And if Apple can get around this by going, okay, look, we're going to have the stock lens on there, and that'll do what it does. And we can do all the software processing in the world, and ultimately there will be a limit to what can be done, but we're going to build in a standard so you could actually put much larger or much more complicated or more specialized lenses, because that's a big part of the problem too, is that it's one size fits all, and you could put specialized lenses on your phone. I mean, the iPhone is already, according to, oh crap, what site was it? I think it's in our notes. You're
talking about the camera?
Yeah, Flickr's data shows that the iPhone is already a more popular camera than anything that Canon or Nikon makes. So if you could take better pictures with it, a lot of people would be pretty darn interested in that.
That makes a lot of sense, though. Because then just more uploads are going to come from a phone.
Yeah.
It's easier.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I know. Like, I get it.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, if what is obviously a popular photo-taking device gets a significant upgrade in image quality...
And I know a lot of people, though, buy these lenses. And you could charge a lot for them, and they would still buy them.
Yes.
Because, like, it's just going to be so much
Well,
easier.
it's the same shutterbugs that are spending a lot on other lenses.
No, exactly.
Yes.
Yeah. And even people that aren't necessarily getting really high-end, nice cameras, because maybe they can't afford the whole package, but take a lot of photos and enjoy taking their photos, could buy a lens for their phone, which isn't buying into a whole different ecosystem and probably a lot cheaper in the end, even if that one lens is really expensive. I could definitely see quite a few people that I'm friends with, like the Instagram nuts, getting this.
Super smart move, and I super love it. All right, so this has caused waves this week. Posted originally on the forum by Colonel Mortis. Mozilla's CEO resigns over anti-gay marriage controversy. So what happened was he made a $1,000 donation to an anti-gay marriage ballot proposal in California.
Proposition 8.
Yes. So this was a personal contribution, not like he was using Mozilla's resources in order to contribute to a political cause that, however you may feel about it, it is legal right now.
It's technically, yeah.
It is, well, it's not even technically legal. It's legal, whatever you might think about it. You're allowed to contribute to...
Oh, I thought you were saying... Okay, never mind. I thought you were talking about something else. Keep going.
No. Like, you're allowed to contribute to causes that you believe in, whatever other people might think about you doing that.
That's a free speech thing.
Yes. So, we all know what resigned means. I mean, 3 other board members resigned around the time that he was appointed CEO. We already know this. Before this whole thing went down. So, we know that. We know that there's no official word that those resignations were directly related to this or his views or him being appointed CEO.
It was before he was publicly announced as CEO.
Yes.
It
was right around that time.
Yeah.
So I would like to hear from you guys. If we, hired a new employee, for example, and we were to discover that employee participated in an anti-gay marriage protest, or even a pro-gay marriage protest, can we put pressure on them to resign? Is that the right thing to do? So I'm going to create a straw poll here.
I think these are going to be 2 different situations because there's two different arguments I can think of.
Let's go with they participate in an anti-gay marriage protest. So let's go with the one scenario.
So you could have different options.
Let's just go with one.
Okay,
let's go with one to start on the employee to leave the company. Okay, so answer 1 is yes. Answer 2 is no, I guess. I mean, is that about all there is to it?
I was trying to find something in between.
I was trying to come up with something else too.
Yeah. Just like No.
Okay, so I'm going to post this a few times. You know what,
There's
guys?
two things that come in conflict with this already.
Hold on. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to put the chat in slow mode temporarily.
That's probably
just so that my links don't get lost or covered in the floods of other links that aren't related to it. Right?
Okay,
guys, remind me, like tweet me or something. Remind me to go ahead and take it out of slow mode after.
Yeah, that's a good point. We might definitely forget.
Yeah.
So there's two slight problems with this already. One, he's not gonna be in like a CEO position.
That's true.
So
Okay.
that's a big difference, especially when you're looking at a company, because if he's not running the company, his personal views probably wouldn't influence the company as strongly.
Yeah.
So you've got that situation. No matter these sides that I'm trying to bring in are completely not related to the opinion. It's just like differences in the situation. And the other one is still ties into how publicly available that person is. If you become the CEO of Mozilla, everyone knows who you are.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's going to look into who you are. It's like when the new guy took over Microsoft.
Yep.
There was
yeah.
a massive thing of everyone like
tearing apart its entire history.
Exactly.
Yep.
And that's going to happen when you take over a company. That's not going to happen when you become an employee of a company unless you're someone like Carmack who joins Oculus, and then everyone's like, yeah.
But even then, I mean, he's CTO, if I recall correctly. Or chief
Yep,
science officer
so he's
or
not
something.
CEO,
like he's
but
in an executive position.
Yes, he's extremely high up.
Yeah.
So it's very different. Again, what even is this? Oh, okay, that's annoying. Yeah, so there's just some differences to what we're looking at now.
Okay, well, this is interesting because on our forum, a lot of the discussion has been around sort of where one person's rights end and another person's begin. And that to me is a very important part of this issue because a lot of the arguments being made are, well, okay, what if he was pro gay marriage? Then is it okay to persecute someone for that? If that's not something that the other people within the company believe. Like, should we allow something that is effectively still, whether we agree with it or not, still a religious freedom of religion, freedom of free speech issue, whether it should be or not, still happens to be that. Should we allow that to affect someone's employability any more than we should allow someone being gay, for example, to affect someone's employability?
It's interesting. One thing that I want to bring up before I even go into this, which I'll get into that in a second, is that I was very proud of the forum. Mm-hmm. I didn't have to take this thread
13
down.
13 pages, and we didn't have to take it down.
And there was each side of the debate, and neither side of the debate pulled out nuclear bombs.
Which is good.
Which is very
because
good.
Then we have to take it away.
Yeah, and that happens sometimes, but everyone was really good in this thread, so thank you everybody for having a very civil discussion. That was awesome. But I don't know. I like the free speech angle. I think we should stay out everyone's thing. And one thing that I couldn't find anywhere, but this was in support of Proposition 8, I guess. So wasn't that a long time ago?
I think so, yeah. I think it was
so
a while
someone
ago.
had to like dig back and find something that this guy did a long time ago and pressure him for it. Like that's, I don't know. You'd think that acquiring a new position, your actions would now be based on what you do now.
But is it ever really as simple as being judged by our work?
No, of course not.
I
but
mean,
still.
I get messages all the time where people say they love to watch our content because they appreciate like what down-to-earth guys we are about whatever it is that we're doing, whether it's, you know, a CPU or whether it's even some of the commercial productions that we've done. They say they watch it because they want to support us and they like us. Is Mozilla handicapping themselves by putting someone who is, as far as internet culture goes, very unlikable?
Yeah, and
in a leadership position. So
because
hold on,
how...
hold that thought. I want you to have that thought, but I just need a moment here. So I created a new straw poll, guys, and this one is: what if the employee was in a leadership position? And I'd like to see how the answers compare. Here we go. To if they were just an employee.
Okay, so my point was, another thing that has to be taken into account here is that Mozilla is an extremely public company.
Yep.
They talk about everything
they're
they're doing.
And we don't mean public like publicly traded.
No.
Like open.
Yeah, and like they try to bring in the community as much as possible.
Sorry.
And they take donations. which is another big part of it. So I've seen people, I didn't necessarily see this on the forum, but I've seen people saying, like, is my donation part of that amount of money that was donated to that?
Because even if it's his personal funds, if he's being paid by Mozilla,
You
then
fed
you
that.
could make the argument that if you don't support what the individuals do.
Yeah, so that became an interesting thing.
then
That
you're-
got fairly shot down because a
Yeah.
way bigger part of Mozilla's income is like from Google, because of Google search being the default,
Yeah.
not from donations. They don't make nearly as much on donations as a lot of people I think they do. They make a lot more off of that Google search. And like there's a lot going back and forth because of that. But when you're in a company like this, every single move you have is scrutinized.
Yeah.
And like he probably should have known that. But then again, he wasn't CEO then, so he probably
Right.
didn't care.
All right, let's go ahead and... I can't find it. There it is. Let's go ahead and have a look at the results for that one. Okay, so we can see that you guys are giving us very, very different answers this time. So if the employee is in a leadership position, so just an employee. So, you know, like if we were to hire someone that does something that I don't think is a good idea, like say, for example, I don't think smoking is a great idea. As an employer, I'm not convenienced by allowing someone to take smoke breaks, which I am legally obligated to allow them to do.
We don't even have anyone that does. I don't think.
We have one person who smokes occasionally.
Occasionally, but
Yeah.
not that often.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
So I, as someone who's in a leadership position, it seems like most of you agree that I should not be allowed to discriminate based on something that I don't agree with. And I agree with you guys.
Yeah, I was just gonna say.
But it looks like a huge number more of you, about another 25% of you or more, say that if that person is in a leadership position, whatever leadership means to you, whether that is the effect it has on the culture of the office or the company, or whether that is the external visibility of what they're doing, that yes, it matters and that person should be pressured to leave.
To be completely honest, I back that a little bit. I don't know if I back it 100%, but I back it a little bit because, like, in this position, you're now jeopardizing the entire company.
Yeah,
It's
I mean,
something that you've done.
You know, I mean, we've had conversations. I mean, you guys don't see this on WAN Show because we're not going to have it out about things like the direction of Linus Media Group in front of you guys. But we've had conversations where there's something you don't like or there's
Yeah.
something you don't agree with. And
Or you, or anyone else.
or anyone else. Like, I like to feel like I'm very approachable here. And if someone doesn't like something, they can say, Linus, that is a bloody stupid idea.
And
I
we
hate
do.
it." And you do exercise that privilege, not a right. That privilege does get used. And I think that's important. And I think that me being in a position where I can be questioned and I want people to be on the same page as me creates a culture here where we agree and we work together, as opposed to feeling like if we're working with this person, we are furthering something that we don't believe in.
Yeah.
And I think that if we were to hire someone who doesn't fit with our culture, that is a big problem,
And I
whatever
actually-
it happens to be.
I actually think that's one of the reasons why we can be so productive, is even if there's been certain things that we've done that I don't agree with, I think there's been certain things that we've done that everyone in the company hasn't agreed with on some level. But we always find good compromises.
Yeah.
And we always find something that works really well.
But the problem is that, to me, the only compromise on the gay marriage issue
Yeah.
is
That's
to
not
just
that's not a yeah.
ignore it.
Yeah.
And
But
if
then
you
that's not
ignore
a
it,
problem that we really
then that's
have.
not a solution at all. And neither party will be happy at all. And that's not a compromise to me.
But then as a company, your standing is probably going to have to be ignoring it.
Right. But if you rely on donations, then you're in a bit
But
of
then
a
they don't.
strange
Oh,
position.
I see what you mean by ignoring it. But then, like it ties in because they're not ignoring it at that point. Like
Oh,
maybe the
I've sort of what I meant more was the solution to the problem at all.
I now figured
Like if we
that
just let
is-
people do
yeah.
whatever they want and ignore what they're doing.
Yeah, I thought you meant more like the company ignoring
Yeah.
it externally, because I think as a company you need to kind of back off of these things because it's very personal opinion and your company is made up of a large group of people, and speaking outward, unless that's the whole goal of your company, then that makes a lot more sense in my opinion. It comes down to how you want to run everything. Like, isn't it Chick-fil-A is really religious or whatever.
Yep.
But then you're going into that knowing that that's what you're getting.
Yep.
A part of this problem too is Firefox has always been very, very open and accepting of everything.
Yep.
And then that position is not open and accepting. So
Right.
then it goes against the company's more like what people envision the company as. Not necessarily what the company has said they are, but what people envision the company as, and what everyone views these big companies as people.
Yep. I think we even get viewed that way a lot. And you know what? Honestly, I might create another straw poll for this because we don't take a public stance on almost anything.
No.
I don't know that we've ever taken a public stance on really anything.
Unless it has to do with computer hardware.
Yeah, unless it has to do with computer hardware. But my response to people when they've asked me, what do you think about, abortion, or what do you think about this, or what do you think about that, is, look, I'm a tech personality. My personal life is my personal life. And then when I'm at work, I talk about tech, and it is my job to be opinionated about tech. But it is not my job to be opinionated about all this stuff. And the response when people press me is, look, I'm not an expert. I actually don't know the ins and outs of a lot of these things.
Don't know enough about any of them, including me.
And I'm not, I'm not personally acquainted with every person who's ever been afflicted with any of these terrible situations that can occur on either side of the fence. So... And I'm not talking specifically about gay marriage. I just mean in general. We don't really take a stance on things that aren't technology. So, would you like us to? Is the question.
No. I'm going to go vote on this.
You can vote on the straw poll. You can vote on the straw poll. This is an interesting discussion topic.
Yep. I'm definitely clicking no, though, because that's just scary. Oh my god, it's not in slow mode anymore.
I'm turning slow mode back on.
No.
Okay, so guys, here's the link. Slow mode is back on. I'm spamming the link so that y'all can see it there. And for those of you replying in the Twitch chat, guys, I'm not looking at that. It doesn't count. You have to reply to the straw poll. How are we supposed to do things here? All right, so let's go ahead and move on to our next topic while we wait for the replies to roll in on that one, which happens to be technology!
Hooray!
I forgot to update this with all the points. NVIDIA Shield temporarily... Wait, did we talk about this last week? I thought we talked about this last week.
Pretty sure we did. I was assuming you had something else.
Oh, I was going to talk about it. So game stream working remotely. I was going to try it.
This happens with some of your topics sometimes.
Yeah,
you're just like, what? I don't know what this is about.
I know. Okay, so I meant to try remote game stream. I haven't had a chance yet.
Okay.
I've been too busy playing Bravely Default.
I'll try this weekend. My problem is finding places that, because my parents have a crappy internet connection, because we're, borderline Farmville.
All right. So speaking of me taking a stance on technology junk.
Boom! Stance being taken.
I didn't even know I was clicking on this link because it was mislabeled. This is a stupid solution. Okay? This is USB 3.1 Type-C, and I will give them this. This is not finalized, but it's final enough that they're willing to show renders now. Yep. And I will give them this. USB 3.1 Type-C is very beautiful. It's very elegant. It is even smaller than Micro B and is going to give you up to 10 gigabit per second connectivity.
Wait for a second.
Congratulations!
Everything he's doing right now is when you're walking up to the guy in a dining hall and you're hiding the knife and you're trying to shake his hand so you can stab him in the ribs that go right so you can get to the heart. That's what he's carefully walking to the person right now. Now he's going to stab them.
What the hell were you thinking? It still doesn't lock. It's still tiny and fragile. I mean, I don't like the Lightning connector. It's not perfect. It's still a USB 2. I mean, come on, really, Apple? It's still a USB 2. But at least it managed to be less fragile than probably the worst connector on anything, any modern piece of electronics, which is micro USB. We're talking about something that goes beyond just, plugging it in on your nightstand every night. Because cell phones, they don't last all day. So a lot of the time, if you look at it and you go, okay, this connector is rated for, I forget how many it is. I think it's like 3,000 or
10,000?
5,000 or something like that.
I think it's 10,000.
No, I don't know about the new one, but micro USB.
Okay,
Micro
yeah,
USB
yeah,
2 is rated for 3,000 or 5,000 or 8,000 or something like that. Something on the order of like, not tens of thousands. So we're talking like a perfect scenario where like this happens and then you like put it down. Okay, that's not how these things get used.
Never.
You carry this every day. You're carrying portable battery banks. How popular are those these days? You carry portable battery banks around and you kind of go, oh crap, I'm down to 5% battery, and you jam the thing in there and you're like, oh, what am I going to do with this? I have to be on a call. So you
Jam
put
it
like
in
a
your
portable
pocket.
battery in your shirt pocket and you got your phone here and the connector's hanging off of it. That is why small connectors are terrible. And that is why we needed something more robust, not just something that is reversible. And there's a render of it on a laptop or something like that. And I hope that wireless charging is going to save me from these broken connectors that are stupid. But there you go. There's a render of what it looks like next to a USB 3 connector. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's the smartest thing ever and it's amazing. But every tiny connector with a ton of pins that's super thin that I've seen so far, looking at you, mini HDMI, is a gigantic piece of garbage that wears out extremely easily. So, reversible, great. Not that big of a deal on a micro connector. What are we gonna replace all the connectors on the back of my computer with these micro connectors? Is that gonna be better, having tiny plugs? Okay, like
At least I could find it with my finger.
how hard is it to how hard is it to memorize which way the micro USB connector in your phone goes on and put a dot with a marker on the one that goes up or something like that? Like, this is not that big of a deal, reversible. I think reversible is great. I think that is one of the cooler innovations of the Lightning connector, but I think that having reversible at the cost of durability, which is another assumption, I can't quite judge it until it arrives, until I hold it in my hands and break one, because I will, in all likelihood. Look at it! I'm done here. Let's talk about my next
We should do a
rant.
video when they first release. We should do like Linus kills
all
Type
the
C,
all the Type
and have
C
like a deep dark torture scene where you just kill a cable.
That's kind of creepy, actually.
It'd be kind of awesome, probably, because you could make it like deep dark torture scene, but then also funny, so that it loses the edge.
Now, I wouldn't actually care that much about micro USB if if wireless charging were more ubiquitous. And this is what kind of blew me away. Did you find some of the comments I was talking about?
I ended up searching more.
Okay,
Yeah.
I don't remember where they are, but
There's a
if
few.
wireless charging was more widespread, I actually wouldn't care. Because if I only had to plug it in once every, I don't know, couple of months when I'm trying to load a custom ROM on the phone or something. Like, if that was the only time I ever had to use the connector, fine. Make it as tiny and fragile as possible. I don't care, because I'm going to be offloading all of my pictures automatically with BitTorrent Sync anyway. I'm going to be syncing all of my songs with some other solution. Well, probably BitTorrent Sync. BitTorrent Sync's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm going to be doing all of this wirelessly anyway. Give me wireless charging so I don't have to worry about it. And this is what blew me away, because I've already had a conversation. I already told HTC that I will be slamming the fact that the M8 doesn't have wireless charging in my review, because it can. It's not the metal backing, it's not really anything. They might have to make it a hair thicker or whatever else. But it could have had wireless charging. Maybe it would have been more expensive to make, all that stuff. But I already told them I'm going to be slamming it, and their response was, does it really matter? And I was like, well, yeah, of course it matters. And he kind of went, well, I don't know, does it? I mean, lots of other major players don't have it yet. And I'm like, well, yeah, but if you're going to call it a Cadillac ultimate, wonderful device phone, and it really is, it's a fantastic phone, then it shouldn't be missing something that phones that cost half as much have. And then I read the comments on this USB article, and I've got people just being like, well, isn't wireless charging slow? I'm like, wireless charging will not replace a cable connection. I'm like, okay.
Well, it has for someone in this office already.
Yeah, I know that for a fact. Where are some of the other ones?
It's really long comment section. Look where your scroll bar is.
Yeah,
That's
I know.
why I couldn't find stuff very quickly.
The issue is not the speed, but that it creates more heat loss, and that's bad for this or that. And I had no idea that there was so much negative sentiment towards wireless charging. And I understand HTC's PR guys, well, it does social media for them, I think, so not PR technically, but I understand his perspective now, because here I am thinking it's obvious that wireless charging is fantastic, and many people are opposed to it.
I don't get the people being like, oh, but cables are so much better. It's like, yeah, well, you can use both. Like, Ethernet is amazingly better than wireless, but you like both of them because they both are better in different situations. Obviously, that's not exactly the same, because for wireless charging, you have to put it on a block or whatever. But if you can just like toss your phone somewhere and have it charging immediately instead of fighting with a cable all the time, is that not a good thing? We have someone in the office that I don't think has plugged in his phone since he got it. Because why would he? He just has these wireless charging pads
They're
everywhere.
like $25 on eBay.
So he just puts them all over the place. And then he's like, oh, click. Wherever, puts it wherever.
So he
it
has
charges all the
one
time.
down in the shoot. This is Brandon. He has one down in the shooting area, one at his desk, and one at home. And it's like, whenever he sits down at his desk, boop. Whenever he's filming, boop.
His phone's never even close to being dead. Like,
But I just had no idea that people thought it was bad. And to the people saying, you know, what about the heat? What about that it's slow? It's not like it doesn't have a connector on it still. Don't use it.
or
I love our
only use the
compressor. I didn't
connector.
even peek.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
You like peaked in real life.
Yeah, I know. I was like shrieking, and I'm sorry for that.
Yeah, whatever.
All right, let's go back to our straw poll. This is interesting. So I always had a feeling this was the case. Only less than 30% of you want us to take a public stance on anything that isn't technology. And you know what? That sounds about right to me. And that's
I don't want us to take a public stance on anything that isn't technology.
That's the reason that I've always just completely avoided engaging in any type of conversation on that stuff, because the way that I see it, we should form opinions about the things that we are experts on.
And not even that, but in that kind of stuff, it's a lot more personal opinion-based stuff, and we can give them information, and then they can come up with their own opinion, and that's how it should work anyways.
And I guess if someone, you know, dug up my $1,000 contribution to the, you know, End Kittens Foundation or something like that and was unhappy about it, then...
I see you picked, like, the most opposite thing as to what you would ever do.
I love kittens. And but this is an example of me avoiding giving really... I don't think... It's really funny because I don't think anyone has any idea what I think about much of anything. I've seen people, I've gotten some really wicked hate mail about how religious I am, and I've gotten some really wicked hate mail about how anti-religious I am. So that's, to me, the indication that people just have no idea.
I've never heard you say a religious comment on a show at any point in time ever. So how would someone come up with that conclusion?
I don't talk about it at all.
No.
So I think this reinforces... Oh, I'm not even showing them the poll results. Okay, well, this reinforces what I thought, and that's that we just shouldn't get involved in things. So, so if someone digs up like a contribution, then I guess I would have to deal with the fallout. And I guess... if we lost viewers over it, or, you know, lost people wanting to support what we're doing over it, then that would be that. But ultimately, I think that what we do should be about the work that we do. And if you guys want to support what we're doing in terms of reviewing notebooks, or I actually have I have a really cool topic coming up soon that I don't want to talk about because I'm sure someone else would make a video about it
Before we're
first.
like, it's going to be a short show.
I know, right?
Nope.
No short show. Anyway, I think we're done with that. The people have spoken. They don't want to know what I think. And that's fine by me.
I completely agree.
We weren't going to start doing it anyway, even if you people did that.
Didn't matter.
Just so you know.
Oh.
Amazon Dash. Do you know anything about this?
A little bit.
I think this was added like during the show by Dominic, so yeah.
I think that was added by me, and then I did none of the notes because I didn't have any time.
Wicked.
So he did all.
All right, let's talk about Amazon Fire TV then. So this is Amazon's entry into the very
Fire
crowded...
TV. I thought you were talking about Dash.
No.
I thought you just said Dash.
Yeah, I don't know anything about Dash, so I didn't look into it. I hadn't seen the topic, so
Oh, okay.
I'm going to talk about FireTV since I know something about that.
All right.
So FireTV is their $99 set-top box available now, and the reviews are pretty much already in. It is a streaming device, so it supports, Hulu, Netflix, Amazon's video streaming service, of course. It is a relatively powerful device, so it has a quad-core processor and 2 gigs of RAM at $99.99, no less. Mind you, I would make the argument that something like an NVIDIA Shield makes a ton of sense for twice the price, given that it is also portable.
Yep.
Just throwing that out there. It has wireless N. It has support for, in addition to what I already said, it has support for Vimeo, MLB.TV, and NBA. It is probably, according to user reviews, it looks like it is pretty much the best solution, hands down, for Amazon's own instant video streaming service.
I would hope so.
But, much like every other streaming device on the market, and holy cow, are there a lot of them, it lacks a certain level of polish at launch and a certain level of integration with popular apps that people are using. So one of the big features that they're talking about here is the voice control that you can use to search for content and play it back. Voice control that only works within Amazon's library.
Yeah.
But the word on the street is that it's actually at Netflix's own request, that their voice control is not searching Netflix's own library. And that's kind of weird to me.
Yeah.
One of the other things that Amazon... So right now, whatever the reason is, that feature is not necessarily... It's kind of half-baked. And then the other thing that's supposed to be really cool about it is it's supposed to help you do all of your comparative shopping without you having to actually look up each of the individual services. So if you want to watch something, then you search for it, and it should tell you where you can watch it for cheapest.
You know what's getting frustrating? I don't see this on the supported list here, and as far as I know, there could have been an update or something, but as far as I know, it doesn't work on Chromecast either. But Twitch. Where's Twitch?
Twitch is not on the radar for, executives who don't understand about game streaming.
Twitch needs to push and get themselves on the radar.
Do they?
I want them to be on the radar.
I mean, okay.
Because right now, it's like the only thing I really watch on my TV is...
They have an iOS app. They have an Android app.
Okay, so they made those themselves.
Yes. So anything running on a platform like iOS or Android, which, let's face it, is lots of stuff.
Yeah.
With the exception of things like Apple TV, which it still baffles me, can't install apps. Anyway. Doesn't that take care of most people?
Yes and no, because a lot of the people that are going to be buying Chromecasts are going to be fairly technical.
But they could just push from their Android or their browser.
It's not as good, though.
Yeah, I know.
It's not nearly as good. You need to be able to actually work with the Chromecast. Screen streaming is not nearly as strong as just pushing through the app. I don't come on, I want this to work. Someone might be proving me wrong. Maybe there's an update for Chromecast as of now. Twitch works with XBMC. Yeah, okay, that's not...
XBMC is kind of a big deal, though. XBMC runs on some of these other devices within their own operating systems. Like, for example, Pivos's streamers. You can run XBMC either natively right on the device, or you can run it as an app within Android.
Personally, the only one I really care about, this might even sound kind of bad, but the only one I really care about is Chromecast, though, because I'm not interested in really playing Android games on my TV, and if I am, I'm just going to use my Shield, because that makes sense, and the Chromecast is $35.
Yeah.
It's so hard to compete with. It's $35. It's super cheap. And you get free shipping from Amazon. So it's actually just $35.
So back to Amazon. Speaking of Amazon, they are touting it as a gaming platform as well, and you can get a gamepad for $39.99. Although, and I haven't verified this, one of the reviews seemed to indicate that you can't use third-party gamepads with it, which is a disaster. Oh. It should just work with any Bluetooth gamepad, because by the time I buy this for $99.99 plus a $40 gamepad, I could pick up a Shield for $200, use any old Bluetooth controller, and I've paid maybe $100 for something that runs on batteries, is much more flexible, and as in console mode, is actually pretty usable. With a powered USB hub, which you can get on Amazon for $8, and an on-the-go connector, I was able to set it up so that my Shield can be perpetually powered and perpetually have all my peripherals plugged into it. Yay! fantastic.
Like, it just kind of works.
I know I pimp Shield a lot, but it really is a fantastic device.
I'm excited for the second one.
I'm super excited for whatever Shield 2 ends up being.
I'm still not sold on the way you hold it.
Okay, fair enough. Your hands are not the same as my hands.
Yeah, and that could change in number 2, or it can't, and I'll just get used to it. I don't know, it's fine. And one thing that's that I'm not super sold on as well is a lot of games for Android. Mm-hmm. This is not on the game streaming front, but the Android gaming front are not designed to be able to control with the controller.
No, but they do have the remapping.
Yeah, but a lot of them, like, you have to tap on the screen really quickly.
But I don't
need the screen tapping ability.
I don't care because I haven't really found any Android games that light my fire,
Worth
so to
playing.
speak.
I found a few, but like I ended up playing through one, and I found myself holding the shield in the weirdest way possible because I had to hold the screen of the shield like a phone.
Yeah, I know.
To be able to, so I was like, this is
challenge.
Really weird.
That's really awkward.
And I made it work, but it was like, okay, this is weird.
I mean, for me, it's one of those things where 95% of what I do on Shield is watching videos or using GameStream.
Yeah, and
it's a great device for that.
But then that brings back the point that I was talking about, where I don't really understand or agree with the fact that it has all this Android in it, and then all of the stuff that has to be in there, like the hardware to support Android. They could have made a way cheaper device that just supports GameStream. But then, who cares? It's now only $200 anyways.
Yeah, $200 is very reasonable for it. Okay, so let's get into not game stream, but game streaming technologies in general.
Laptop conversation?
Yeah. Whether the game, or is there anything else that we're missing that we promised
There's just Dash, but I don't know if anyone really cares.
Yeah, whatever. Okay, so is the gaming laptop dead? I did a review this week of the MSI GS60, and gaming laptops have come so far. Contrasting that with my GX660, I think is the model, MSI gaming laptop. So I was able to look, like, snapshot, MSI 3 years ago gaming laptop, MSI today gaming laptop. The old one ran hotter, way hotter, was much slower, was like twice the overall thickness, looked stupid as all hell, and the new one is this slim, sexy, cool running design with better battery life, and just is better display, is better in every possible way.
Makes sense.
And I ran a game on it to test NVIDIA's new battery saving feature for mobile GPUs. That what it does is it limits your frame rate. So if your notebook is on battery and it's still powerful enough to run a game at 60 frames per second, and you kind of go, well, no, hold on a second, I'd rather have longer battery life and turn down my GPU, and I'm okay with 30 frames per second to get more battery life. Sorry?
Blasphemous.
I know, right? But if you did, okay, well, okay, I'll give you a different example. If it runs at 120 frames per second and your display is only 60 hertz, then whatever.
Yeah.
You might as well turn it down so you can save that extra battery life. And NVIDIA's claiming up to 2x improvements in battery life by using this feature. So I set to work trying out the feature, and I ran with it on. And then I ran without it on, and not only did I only get about 2 minutes of extra battery life, which is within margin of error at that point pretty much, but I only got less than an hour of battery life out of both of them. So I kind of looked at it and I went, well, hold on a second. I mean, what is a gaming laptop? A gaming laptop to me is a portable machine that is capable of gaming, but suffers from battery life that is just abysmal when you're actually trying to use it for gaming. Could they make a gaming laptop that has the power, the hardware of the GS60 and like doubles the size and just fills it with battery? I guess so, but the battery technology hasn't gotten to the point yet where we'd be able to charge that laptop in a reasonable amount of time even.
Yeah. Battery technology is lagging behind like everything by a lot.
And it's holding things back.
Yeah.
And then I realized something. Do I need a powerful GPU in my laptop anymore? Because with GameStream, you can use a hardware-based decoder that's already in your onboard graphics, and when you're at home, you can stream that game to yourself with low enough latency that with my last experience with it, although I haven't gone wireless yet, I actually just bought... Where is it? Don't want to step on that again. I actually just bought an AC wireless card for my Ultrabook so that I can try Steam in-home streaming with AC. But if I can stream the games to myself at home, do I need it that badly when I'm on the go? And if I'm on the go, what are the odds I'll be somewhere where I can get a hardline connection and I can stream it to myself remotely? Because I know we haven't tried remote streaming for Shield yet. Neither of us have.
No.
But I've tried grid beta,
Yeah.
which is far enough away that, like, it's surprisingly good.
Yeah,
Given
yeah,
how far away it is.
How much data is flowing down when you're doing that?
They're saying you want 5 megabit up and down both ways.
There's a lot of situations, maybe not you,
Yeah.
so maybe you don't need one, but I think there's a lot of situations where, now, personally, I've never bought a gaming laptop.
Yeah, exactly.
But I've never been interested in gaming laptops. That's not because I could replace it before. It's because I hated that experience. It was just like, nope. But everyone that I know that would buy a gaming laptop or has bought a gaming laptop would still buy one because a lot of the places that they're using it, they're not able to get that 5 megabit connection.
Fair enough.
Maybe
Okay.
in certain city hubs and stuff like that, you're able to get it a lot of times. But I notice a lot of school connections,
Yep.
they're going to throttle individual
Yeah,
connections.
they'll be
so you're
just
not,
totally foobar.
You're not going to be able to get it when you're at
Won't be
school.
able to stream.
You're a lot of the time you're not going to be able to get it when you're at the coffee shop. All these kind of things.
So you want to be able to game when you only have power. Because ultimately, it's not like you can game on the thing when you don't have a power outlet. I mean, 40 minutes is that you can't even play a round of League of Legends necessarily in 40 minutes.
Yeah, no, and I've actually seen people have problems with that. But I find it easier to get a power connection than it is getting a connection. And like, say you're in a car and you're going on a road trip. This is not as common as the other scenarios I was giving you. But if you're chilling in the back of the car on a road trip, it is potential that you could trickle off of the car.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And you're not going to be able to get
a couple hours out of it or whatever.
Yeah, and you're going to be moving too quickly that you're probably going to get a craptastic mobile connection, if one at all.
Terrible, yeah.
So, like, I think there's still situations for it, but then everything that I just laid out is things that are going to be, again, not me, and probably not you, and things that are going to probably very soon no longer be problems.
Right.
Whether it's the school scenarios that I'm talking about where those connections are probably just going to get faster as they have been, and then that's not going to matter. Or if it comes down to the car scenario that I talked about where Korea is already working on that, creating that insane mobile wireless standard, which will make it so you could be moving as fast as a bullet train and it won't even matter. So at one point in time, in the hopefully not super long future, all of my holdbacks are not going to matter. But as of right now, I can still see the merits.
I never see myself gaming on the go. And when I'm at home, like, even if I'm at home, like I'm on the couch or whatever, I don't feel like going and getting my charger.
No.
Would I use Steam in-home streaming or would I play natively on the device? The heat output when you're playing on it, and the additional battery life that you can get by streaming using this instead of a GPU is tangible.
In your house, definitely. For sure. I definitely agree with that. And, like, honestly, you said on the run, like, even if you're going to game and all that kind of stuff, and even in your house, 2DS. It's cheap as all crap. I can play it anywhere.
Austin Evans is video calling me. Should I just take it?
Sure. Is there like 10 billion people?
Apparently.
It was probably a misclick, man.
I'll be like, sup.
It was probably a misclick. He probably just tried to video call like everyone on his contacts. Because that's a lot of people.
Kind of is. Anyway, I think we're pretty much done with the show for today. This was fantastic. For me, anyway. I hope it was as good for you. But,
that awkward moment after.
On that disturbing note, peace out, guys. Thank you for tuning in. We're sorry we were late once again. We will have for those of you who didn't catch the entire show, we will have the archive up fairly shortly. And I think that's pretty much it. Bye, guys.
Right. Bye, everyone.
I love how you know that you're talking and the mic is on, and you still do it.
You do it too.
Well, I'm quiet.